Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Not Another Budget. I'm Nicole, and in this video, I'm going to be going through my September week 5 budget. Welcome back to anyone who is a returning subscriber, and hello to anyone who is a new subscriber. It is lovely to, I guess, metaphorically see all of you. And if anyone has commented, I am behind on responding. I do acknowledge that. That hasn't changed in the 24 hours since I uploaded yesterday's week 4 roundup. And I am going to be away from my house today, but with my laptop. So I will be making a point to get on and do that and respond to everyone, because if you can take the time to leave me a comment, I can find the time, given that I'm doing not much at all, to respond to you all. So thanks for that. Now, I have here my budget binders, and more specifically I'm just going to get rid of you, more specifically my savings challenge spending binder. And this is here because I have emptied this. Not that there was much in there at all to begin with. Between this and the 1p challenge, there was some 50p's in here. There was nothing else in any of these. There is a placeholder in days out, which is going to be staying there. And I have my pounds in my savings challenge jar. And I have emptied them because I am extremely concerned about what's currently going on with the UK specific economy. It's the first time during this entire cost of living crisis, when energy has been going through the roof and food prices have been horrendous and the fuel pumps just being sickening. It's the first time I observed them all going, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. I can ride this out. And looking at the whole winter of discontent narrative and going, I might be okay, I might be okay, I might be okay. And then the pound fell off a cliff, and then the pound continued to fall off the cliff at the start of this week. And I'm looking at the narrative that is coming out, and I pay attention to budgets, I pay attention to what goes on in the Treasury. Although I may be pretty rubbish at managing my own money, I do have a little bit of mental nous around me, and I can certainly follow reports and I can follow what's going on, and I can understand it in relation to my day-to-day life. Now, I accrued that knowledge because I was part of the freelancing pool that got no support whatsoever in March 2020. So I very, very quickly learned how to read and understand and break down what was coming out of the Treasury, because I got a complete crash course in what it means to not be supported at all by... It doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. If you're not supported by a government and you fall foul of a budget, so to speak, you learn really quickly how to read and understand those things. So it's 7 a.m. in the morning, and I said yesterday that I was still waiting to find out what I got paid. Oh, wage slips still haven't dropped. How do I know what I've been paid? Because I checked my bank account. So TLDR, I've not slept at all, because I'm looking at what's going on and I'm going, okay, it's time to batten down the hatches. And that is very much informing this week's budget. So this is empty. I have taken the £34.40, which is that, and also the 20p's in my rainy day fun jar out, because I'm going to be doing some things. So this week is just purely to close off September. I'm going to start October as a completely new month, which is properly planning out what I've got going in. All being well, I am still on track to return to work potentially the middle of next week, pending some medication reviews. So I need to start plotting those in. My goal for this week is to batten down the hatches. Now, I mentioned yesterday that there were some things that I had wanted to get for the house. what I am intending to do is have an incredibly lean October. So that is some form of a pantry cook, that is batch cooking as much as I can this week, and that is going through the house, getting everything re-uploaded onto Vinted and refreshing those listings and getting cash in quickly to hoard. And I know that doesn't make a lot of sense because I've just taken the cash which I do have, which is £34.40. There is an explanation for that. There is always an explanation for the things I do. It just may not be what other people do, and I do acknowledge that. But I have the very gut feeling, and I've spent all night trying to work out, is this just a generalized panicked anxiety or is this a real anxiety? And it's looking at what I can control, not what I can't control. And I can't control the clowns currently in government operating on a kamikaze budget, let's put it that way. But what I can control is my home and my space, and that's keeping it warm and that's keeping it stocked. Right now, having £34.40 in a sinking fund spread across pound coins is not going to save me, but putting that towards my prep pantry, which is good-ish. There are things certainly that I can top up on, and I found Emily's Budgets videos incredibly useful for just making me sitting there and go, oh yeah, I've got all this food but I have no water if something were to happen, and the cat doesn't have any backup and there's no lighting backup at all in terms of long life candles and things. So this budget is also slightly unique in that it runs from the 25th to the 30th. However, I didn't get paid until today, and today is the 28th, and I won't receive any freelance income until the 30th. Thankfully, none of these are coming out until the 30th here, but my total projected income is £393.40. Now, these wages are on the lower side of what was expected. I average 580 a month. It looks like, and we're still waiting for the wage slips to drop, that contractual sick pay didn't appear to run for the entire time that I have been off, and there is probably an element of statutory sick in there as well, which is partly why I think I need to get back to work, even whether I'm actually physically fit enough to do so. So very, very light on bills this week. Because it is a weekend, my other direct debits will not come out until Monday. They normally fall on the 1st, things like my car insurance and things like that. In August, they called for them early because it was the bank holiday, which was fine. So I paid that, which is why you didn't see that in my last budget. But they're not going to come out until Monday, I believe. So very small amount of bills. Pet insurance, Now TV, which is £1, and I keep Now TV because for some bizarre reason I'm paying £1 a month, and I think it was just an obscure offer that I got 6 months ago, and I was like, yeah, okay. It's normally £10 a month, so £1, I will always keep that on while that's there. And YouTube Premium is £11.99. I watch YouTube the way someone else would watch, say, a Disney Plus or a Netflix, and I won't get rid of it. That is one that I will be keeping. And I've already gotten rid of Amazon Prime and things like that instead. So I will be slimming down and looking at what proportion of my income goes to things like subscriptions, etc., and bills, but that will be a separate video. So £28.60 is the total money out for fixed bills. If there's any that I've forgotten about or like a called earlier or anything like that, then they will of course appear when I do the roundup, and then the leftover money is £364.80. Now there's not going to be a cash stuffing for this week because, like I said, that money isn't coming in until the very end of the week. And with regards to battening down the hatches, because I do have to drive to a cash point, I am going to drive a little bit further away, fill up my car with petrol, and do a food shop when I'm there as well. So I won't be doing a cash stuffing for this week because 2 of the larger factors of my flexible spending would have already been spent. So I'll be driving through to the nearest town, and then tomorrow I will actually be driving through to the city, which is an hour away. So do excuse me. It's been a sleepless night, and yeah, that's me knocking the camera. Although I was pleased to see that yesterday's video was a little bit more stable. I did go back and monitor for overall camera shake. I'm just going to have a sip of my coffee. It is today, we are on Free Dobby. I don't know if you can see that, probably not. There we are. Free Dobby, free the UK economy, please. Okay. So I have £364.80 to play with. Now, what I normally do anyway, when I receive income from wage 1 and wage 2, because they are larger at 2 points in the month, is I do fill my car up to full, and I also do a larger food shop as a whole. I'm just trying to look and go, is that right? Have I put that down properly? I think I might have written something wrong. Oh, I can't check that right now. I didn't think I was going to put preps as that much. Right, okay, bear with me. Because I am driving through to the city, that will take a little bit more fuel than normal, so that is going to be £50, but that will fill my car up completely and cover that trip. The cat is getting £20, much more, but that will allow me to get an extra box of dry food in and an extra week's worth of his wet food and a couple of extra treats, so he is then covered. Coffee is 15 as standard. I'm going through to the city with that friend, and that was initially a trip. She's on annual leave as well. I think I said in yesterday's video, but I'm not sure. She's on annual leave as well, and this was always meant to be annual leave for me. So she said, look, let's go through to the city, let's have a change of scenery, do a bit of mooching. You don't have to spend, but she's got a couple of things she wants to get, and there's places like a Primark and B&M's and Asda and stuff like that. So a change of scenery, a wander around. We can have a coffee in not a Costa and go to somewhere nicer, or maybe we can get like a lunch deal somewhere. And that was the plan. I drive because she doesn't, and then she pays for the parking. We've both been speaking overnight. We're both worried equally about the same thing, and the purpose of that trip is actually not going to be leisurely spending. It's actually going to be much more purposeful because we will be accessing different stores. Sadly, there is no Home Bargains near me. I have to drive 2.5 hours for a Home Bargain, so B&M's is what I will be working with. Food is 50, and that is a standard food shop. Now, I'm actually just going to very quickly do some maths because I have just been sitting and working this out, and I do wonder if I have not done this properly or gotten confused and written the wrong thing down, so just bear with me here. I didn't think I was going to put 100 on preps. I thought I was going to do 50. So just bear with, guys. Yeah, that's not right. I've written the wrong thing down. So preps I feel like is 50. Don't know what I was doing. Probably because when I was going through and adding it up on the calculator, I was like, oh yeah, that's fine. That makes 100 all in for both, and then just wrote 100 down in the wrong category. Just do a quick check on this. Plus 10, plus, yeah. Where am I missing? I'm missing something. Why am I missing something? Why am I missing something? Missing £30. Okay. Just bear with, guys. A bit of on the nose, semi-live budgeting. I've probably gone through about 4 sheets of these trying to work this out. So preps is 50. That is food specific preps. I have tidied up my pantry cupboard, so there are gaps that I need to fill. I don't need to start from scratch. Thankfully, I've always had that, and I'm very much going back to student mentality. You have no money, but you have food, and you have to, pardon me, go to work, and you have to do your AAT course. And that is how I am very much approaching this week going into October as well. Clothing is 40, so that is going to cover a second set of thermals and also a couple of pairs of jeans and a pair of winter boots, because I am going to be back at work. One job I have a uniform for, one job I don't have a uniform for, beyond a top, but then we can wear our own bottoms and shoes and stuff. So these are things that I need in my wardrobe, specifically the thermals, and just identifying gaps. So that's very planned and purposeful, and it is £40 because I've got the stuff sitting in the car, and it is all second hand or on offer anyway, so that is why that is there, but that will not appear again for a while. Household is 10. That's just going to cover things like loo roll, cleaning supplies. I'm generally well stocked on those, but it will just cover things like that, toiletries and stuff as well, so that's what's included there. That's a pretty standard category, twice a month. House and spendy, I've put down 130, and the reason why it's a slash is because I haven't got enough lines to carry on going and break it all down separately. So spendy is the £30 specifically, and if I can afford to do either £20 to £30 each week, I will try and continue to do that, even if I don't spend it all. So some weeks I've spent over and some weeks I've spent less in September. And house is 100, and that is where I've pulled the 34.40 from as well. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I spent a lot of time yesterday because I was waiting to find out what I was going to get paid and trying to research. I can't afford to get a heated area and thermal curtains. Now, I was even looking at Vinted, I looked on eBay, I looked secondhand, I looked for like Facebook Marketplace, and because I'm not even at the minute fussed about a colour, but because I need a full length 229 drop, I'd actually found a pair that happened to be new, that happened to be the colour I wanted. I think they were George at Home on Vinted. Favorited it with the intention of buying today, and within an hour and a half they had sold. So things like that are moving and selling far quicker. I have registered to be notified because Aldi have got their heated area coming back in, and I don't have a tumble dryer, and my house is incredibly cold, and I have to now wash uniform and get on top of that as well, and it's taking at the minute 2 days to dry my clothes, so when it gets to winter it's going to get to 3. So I'd wanted to get a heated area. That was always kind of top of my list. As and when the heating energy efficiency stuff came in, thermal curtains for my lounge then bumped up the list. But what I'm going to do is see if I can get the curtains. I think they're more of an option given where I'm going tomorrow. There's more shops that I can look at that have more affordability than just online. But then I'm going to also look at things like long burning 8-hour-long candles, lanterns, blankets that are on offer. If I can get an extra set of thermals, so I've got 2 or 3 sets as well, I'm going to get that. The house is already cold, so it's already below 10 degrees in my house, and it's only going to get worse. And when I was on a super cheap fixed rate and not really paying the bills, I could have the heating on all day, even when I was out, and it wouldn't even take the edge off, but I would have it on all day just so that I would come home to a semi-warm house. And I'm really trying not to do that this time. Of course I could put it on, but I'm already conscious that I owe a lot of money anyway to the energy company, and I don't want to rack that up even more, so I'm trying to heat the person and not heat the house, because the house just won't heat up to a state that's sufficient. And with regards to the house, in the current circumstances, I have never been more glad that I actually got my landlord to commit to a 24-month contract, because although it means I'm paying £100 more, and I've explained in another video that's below market value for the property that I'm in, he is mortgaged on this property, and he is now bound by a contract where for the next 2 years, up until June 2024, he's getting £850 a month from me regardless of what his payments are. So unless there is a breach of contract and there are issues there from his end, and that happens, and he wants to, pay to buy me out of my contract, basically. Thankfully the house itself, the 4 walls are secured. However, the the lights and the transportation and the food, not so much, and the clothing nearly. All of the clothing I'm getting is going to be secondhand from Vinted. It's ready and waiting to go, and then the thermals I get a discount for anyway with one of the shops that I'm getting them from. So I'll pull the 20p difference from my 5p's. This may not all be spent. I may actually return with change, but I am preparing for the worst. So this is a battening down the hatches spend, very much so. And yeah, I am more concerned than I think I've ever been, with the exception of March 2020. And March 2020 was watching an entire year's worth of freelancing income dry up overnight, and it dried up overnight before we officially went into lockdown, and it was then weeks of waiting to see if there was support, and then there was no support. Yeah, so that was a horrible time in my life. My nails are completely bitten down to as far as they can go, and I would probably carry on biting them at the minute. I think last week, I mentioned that last week I was feeling really, really low, and I never hold out any hope in reality that budgets are going to be, and financial announcement from any government are going to benefit me at all. I'm not the current government's ideal demographic, let's just put it that way. However, I think there was a small spark in the back of my mind that maybe there would be tangible support beyond what was already announced, and you just get let down, don't you? And that really just kind of made my heart sink, I think, last week, and I could just feel it coming. So hopefully I don't need to do all of this. I think in reality I may need to, and that is why I have planned for it. So this is a batten down the hatches. October will be treated as a new bare bones month, and in September, end of September, is we are prepping for that. So I think Emily's budget said that September is preparedness month, and it's like, yeah, but I've just left it to the last week. So battening down the hatches, getting that done, getting on top of the house, getting on top of Pantry and life, and developing a plan going forward. So I'm going to drink the rest of my coffee because it is getting slightly cold. The sun is starting to come up, so we've got a really lovely sunrise, and so I'm going to go now, have my coffee, and then get on the road and get going and get cash out and do things like that. So I will film my prep haul, and I will also film my October setup, which will be coming in a couple of days. So there'll be a lot of budgeting videos this week. I'm trying to get ahead if I can, with the anticipation of being back to work soon, although I don't think I'll be back on full hours initially, but more on that in another video. So thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. You know the jazz. If you watch YouTube, you know what all of that means. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I will love you and leave you and see you next time. Bye bye.